Ladies and gentlemen, this is David Mirikitani with another episode of Weighing In. We are brought to you by Nike Wrestling. Go to athleteps.com for all of your Nike gear. Resolite, the Mat Company, and Pure and Clean Sports. We appreciate all those guys. Joined, as always, on Tuesday by Mark Ostrander, Grant Turner. Mark, do we want to discuss your shirt? Do we want to know if you're moving? Here, Stillwater's the nicest time of the year.
Yeah, I found the shirt in my closet. I think it's probably an Oklahoma State shirt that I got at their golf outing, if I ever went to one. But yeah, I'm kind of a little depressed. So I thought I'd wear this color to see if it brightens me up.
So GT, I know looks good. GT, I know you were monumentally busy this weekend qualifying all your guys for nationals. But Mark picked the dual 6'4" Iowa. So
but it's not like out of the realm of possibility.
It wasn't. I had it 5'5". So
anybody have it 8-2?
My friend did, but it wasn't 8. It was 7'3", right?
It was 7'3", but I mean they wrestled a backup at 49, so could have been 8-2.
Yeah. Let's talk about the duel first, and then there's some other. This is the end of the regular season, so now the allocations will come out before we do our pod on Thursday. Before we get into the duel, big thanks to all the people in Iowa. I got a chance to go up there this weekend, watch the state tournament. Got a chance to have lunch with Mark on Saturday, and appreciate the hospitality and the invite to the house and everything else, Mark. Great seeing you in person. Doesn't happen often enough. Some of the people that I'm close to and that have been in Border Brawl or coming to Border Brawl had very successful weekends up there. I especially want to thank Zane and Nicole Paglia. They had us over Friday night to watch the semis at this place they call the Barn. Really cool spot. And just everybody up there was very kind, very nice. And places like Buzzard Billy's, you can understand why they're institutions. So, all right. Having said that, the dual 7-3 Oklahoma State, kind of the three matches that meant nothing. 49 rider block, Tech the backup. I think it's Coulter Burton. 197 was a pin for Merrill against Sampson. And then probably, if you're Iowa, probably the most depressing thing of the night, Gabe Marty gets, maybe not depressing, but a sort of exclamation point, is Connor Doucette pins Gabe Marty in a Navy ride, which is like you'd yell at a 7-year-old for that happening. And so that was pretty brutal. I had several friends there, and they told me that on the breaks they were showing videos of like Kendall Cross beating Terry Brands, of John Smith beating Tom Brand, like all these videos of Oklahoma State guys beating Iowa guys. I think like Piccinini pinning Spencer Lee. So it was not the biggest sellout, but they explained that on the broadcast that they've added some luxury boxes, so they'll never be able to hit that number. GT, you and I have been in that place before. It's pretty special. And Taylor and Company have kind of turned it into a rock concert.
Gallagher is probably one of the, I mean, if we were getting down to it, probably one of the top 5 collegiate experiences for collegiate wrestling in the country. I think I probably would make them a little bit further north of 5, but once again, there's some really, really great environments in the sport of wrestling that are electric. And the way that David and his staff have upgraded the experience for the fans there with, a stage and, some of the more of the kind of the fanfare that they kind of bring. They had, like Daniel Cormier walk out the team, for the duel, like some of the video production, some of the other things that they get to do for the entrance musics and things of that nature really makes it even more of a spectacle. So kudos to them and their staff and the staff for Game Day Promotions at Oklahoma State to be able to put that effort into the wrestling program. But you could wrestle Iowa in a barn and they would have 20,000 people show up.
In both cities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as far as the fan bases are concerned, the University of Iowa and Oklahoma State have traveled well for 60 years, if not more. So, and it was cool. It was on ESPN, a lot of really, really good commentating between, Rock and JB, being able to give them, some kudos online for kind of the historic, because it was the 60th meeting, I believe. Is that correct, Mark?
Yeah.
It was 29, 28, and 2, I think. So like now it's 29, 29, and 2, maybe, or 30. I don't remember who was up one, but
I think Oklahoma State was up one.
okay.
But what a great representation of all of those, that lineage of those two programs. It's really cool to see. I mean, once again, it was a little bit more lopsided than normal for probably either program, because it's usually, like 5-5, 6-4 either way over the course of the past 60 years.
Yeah.
But really cool environment, really cool for it to be, basically almost prime time on ESPN. So great exposure for the sport of wrestling.
And I think, Mark, before I go to you, I think it was officially the last duel of the regular season, Sunday, 5:00. And when we talked about it, Mark, on Thursday and made our picks, it always feels like picking Iowa, Oklahoma State's always fun. Like they've wrestled so long. Like Penn State may have wrestled Iowa and Ohio State and all them, but Penn State has only been good for about 15, 20 years, where they were clearly in the national title hunt and race. But Oklahoma State and Iowa have been really good since Kurtelmeyer was there. So, long, long time. What were any overarching thoughts before we just get into the matches?
I thought the venue that Oklahoma State put on was outstanding. I loved the old videos of guys wrestling against Oklahoma State, because it's iconic, and it has been iconic for a long time. And I don't think that bothers most Iowa fans, because I just think it's cool that Oklahoma State decided to do something like that. This is what the sport needs. It's entertaining. People love to watch it, and they get into it. So, I mean, anything that grows a sport and gets more people to watch it is exactly why we're even on this podcast.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
A couple of direct shots fired, like David Taylor called it, like when Quentin Kesnick, like, hey, this is where wrestling lives, kind of the Wrestletown shot at Iowa City. And they were playing videos of the Brands brothers getting beat by John Smith and Kendall Cross. And they're going after it. They're going after recruits. I mean, that's what they're doing, is they're trying to say, like, this is the coolest place in America to wrestle. And with everybody getting NIL money, it may not be all the same, but say it's fairly close. It's about the experience where you're sort of idolized in these towns that don't have pro sports. It's a big deal. So again, we'll just talk about kind of the 7 matches that matter. I do want to talk about reaction time. I don't really care about the one match. It doesn't matter. But I think they got to figure out wrestling. They got to figure out reaction time before these national qualifiers and nationals, because it's kind of crazy. 25, Spratley beats Peterson in a fairly controlled match. He got the first takedown, went and got him right away. Got riding time. Peterson took one real attempt. Spratley fought him off. It was basically very similar to the first match, except Spratley got riding time, and then Peterson just didn't come after him late. Like, GT, you and I were there at NDI, and I think Spratley stopped wrestling the first time. I just kind of thought he had it. And I think those guys definitely told him, like, you got to wrestle through the end of the match. I think he was surprised that Peterson didn't come after him harder. Crane, I'll start with you at 25. Like, your thoughts on the match?
Well, I think between Spratley and Peterson, being able to watch that at the National Duel Invitational, like you said, it's very similar to kind of the match that we did see in the duel. I think that depending upon how the seeds kind of go, I think this is going to be a match that we see at the NCAA tournament. It's like almost a quarterfinals match. I could see Dean maybe being like the 6 and Spratley being the 3 or something along those lines. So I think you're going to see that, a trilogy of these guys this season, just because I think that they're going to be, I think they're on a collision course to have another match. But as far as the match is concerned, I thought Spratley did enough to, kind of do his own thing. Also Spratley wrestling at home is I think a little bit more of a different animal. I think he wrestles way better when he's kind of closer to Stillwater than he does maybe on the road. So kudos to them, but like great match between great competitors. I mean, those All-American caliber type guys right there.
Well, we forget Spratley was a finalist. I mean, he kind of dug deep and got a couple. If you're for Spratley, he could have won the finals. He lost in overtime. And if you're an anti-Spratley guy, you're like, he kind of won 2 really close ones. And if he lost the one in the quarters, he might not have even placed. But a lot of these guys are coin toss guys. Mark, thoughts on 25 before we get to 33?
Yeah, I think it was almost identical to the last match. The only difference in this match is Spratley in this match did not go after Iowa in the third period. If you remember the last match, third period, when it was national duels, Spratley went in and shot on Peterson, and Peterson countered him and scored the winning takedown. So he wasn't going underneath him at the end. He was staying in good position. Didn't really have to. He was winning. Why do it? So, but Spratley's got to learn how to have some offense. And
Spratley or Peterson?
Peterson. I'm sorry, Peterson. All he does is react to everybody's stuff, and that's how he scores. He's got to find his own offense.
He got in deep one time on a leg on a swing single and didn't finish it. And listen, these guys were all better than I was, so grain of salt. But, when you have these matches that are so close and you're not shooting, like you better be really good on top and bottom. That's where Spratley wrestles from confidence, right? Like he feels like if it goes to the 30s, he's going to win. Like, I think most of us thought when he got with Ventresca in the 30-30s, he was going to win. He didn't. I think we were surprised by that. I was. I shouldn't speak for you guys or the general public, but I was. The other thing I think we should keep in mind as we go through these matches are Oklahoma State sort of 3 of their biggest meets, maybe 4, have all been home meets. Like the Iowa State duel was at home. The Iowa duel was at home. The national duels, Tulsa's home and Big 12's home. That was really going to help them with seeding. But then you get to Cleveland and it's a different crowd. So it's going to be interesting. And by the way, GT, I don't even know who you picked at 25. I picked Peterson. Mark picked Spratley. So don't know who you had there. But
I had Spratley by decision, just because I was at home.
You have enough credibility with us. We just believe what you say. So,
well, I put it into Matt King's, so I will.
Yeah. No, you're
I will
good.
scream. It's in the world.
No, I'm
It's in
mad
the internet.
because Matt King shut down a half an hour before the duel. I couldn't get my entries in, so I'm very, very angry. Like I'm kind of ticked off. But anyway, 33. I picked Jax by Tech Fall, and that I did pick Jax. Mark picked Drake. And honestly, the first minute and a half, like Drake almost got that slide by. I mean, I think the problem wrestling Jax, here's what I think. It's almost a perfect comparison. You get used to wrestling guys like Spratley that for periods of the match will just hand fight. And if the perfect shot's not there, they don't take it. And so you get used to a certain pace, and the pace is hard and that it's hand fighting and you have to sort of be ready all the time, but you're not always in flurries. Jax is in flurries all the time. He's always looking to put you on your back. And for the 17th time, anybody who thought this kid was not going to redshirt or was going to redshirt this year was out of their mind. Like, it would have been a complete disservice to Ronnie Ramirez to not wrestle him and then, okay, now you're going to Big 12s. But somebody posted, I think Ayala's been pinned maybe twice, once by Bird and once somebody else, maybe like his freshman year or something, but he had never been tech fault. And I feel like this kind of says he's not making the finals because he's lost to, unless somehow Davino, Blaze, Bird, and Jax are all on one side of the bracket. I mean, he's going to have to pull 2 upsets to make it. I think like he's now kind of become a 6, 7, 8 kind of guy. And I picked Jackson Blaze back in October. So Mark, I don't even remember who you picked. I can go look while you're talking. What are your thoughts on the match and your picks?
I could tell you I picked Bird and Ayala in the finals.
You did. I see that here. Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah. Jax is he's a whole different problem for a lot of people. He gets in so many different positions. He's got such a nice slide. I mean, Drake Ayala is really good at slide bites. And he got hit twice in it and didn't even see it coming. Both times he went right to his hands. And Jax doesn't have to do anything because he's so tall. He just steps behind, and there's your 2. Where Drake, when he hits his, he kind of goes down on the mat. You got 3?
No, you're 3. You said you're 2. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm not sure. But, I mean, Jax has his slide by a little bit different because he controls the elbow when he does it, where it's slick and it works. And then he was also shooting to the other side, which I don't think Drake was ready for. And he's so long. And I don't know. I do think there was a point in that match, just like there was in a later on match, that Drake had 2. He was behind him. Had
3.
Both
you keep saying 2. 3 takedown.
3. Okay, 3 points takedown. He had 3 and they didn't give it to him. So reaction time hit again, but that's not why we lost. Why Iowa lost the duel, not we, because I'm now wearing an Oklahoma State shirt. But that's probably, it's irritating as a fan to say, well, there's 2. He's on the board, or 3. He's on the board. There's 3. And then all of a sudden, they don't make a call. And all of a sudden, Jax is in position and puts a cradle on, and, well, there's 7. That's pretty easy to figure out. So, yeah, just little things.
Before I get to you, GT, this reaction time thing is, I think we can wait till the 184 conversation to have it, but it is deciding matches. And I think they need to have it be a specific amount of time, because if you challenge it, every referee in America interprets it slightly differently. And so, if it's 1 full second, right, and they can put a stopwatch to it on the replay, then like a coach can make a informed decision. I mean, you got to go fast, but you can I think that was a full second. I mean, obviously what Mark is saying is correct, that it didn't decide the match. GT, you follow freestyle, obviously more than most people. I've always thought Jax is a complete unicorn, in that most guys that are really good at freestyle, you go, well, maybe they're not going to be as good at folk style. He's actually probably just as good, if not better, because he's so freaking good on top. So, I mean, he rode the crap out of Seidel. He rode the crap out of Ayala. Like, you see your thoughts on the match, and where do you see Jax finishing this year?
Well, we were talking about it at practice with some of the other guys and the other coaches, and they're like, hey, what do you think about this match? And I literally said, Jax Forrest is an alien. So I'm like, hey, if you've ever watched Space Jam, he's completely one of the Monstars. He is so special when it comes to what he is able to do, his motor, his technique, his precision on some of the things that he executes. And I think one of the things that makes it even a louder statement is that he did it against Drake Ayala, which we all know to be, over the past 3 years, one of the best at the weight class.
For sure.
And Ayala is, two-time national finalist. Like, that is not just a regular person. And for Jax to go out there and kind of execute on a level as young as he is against a guy that is proven it's crazy. It's absolutely bananas that he's having the amount of success this early in his career at that high of level at collegiate style of wrestling, because we all know what he can do internationally, and he's beaten some really, really good dudes on the international scene. But in the collegiate system, like, it'd be really hard pressed for me to say, like, if he was at another weight or another comparison in order to, kind of see what we're seeing right now. Like, someone that's, a fifth-year senior, 3-time All-American, 2-time national finalist, and then just in walks a high schooler and just
a monster.
Yeah, and basically goes out there and scores 19 or whatever points on Ayala. Like, that's bananas to me. So I think just in the frame of, like, what Jax is and how he's doing, like, it's something that is pretty crazy to see. But it's going to be very interesting to see how this weight class at the national tournament plays itself out, because we've talked about this kind of all season, that 33 is a powerhouse full of young talent, old talent, and just regular great wrestlers between, Bird, Ayala, Davino, Seidel, Jax, Blaze.
Larkin.
I mean, Larkin, that's murderer's row of all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So, as far as the match is concerned, I agree with Mark on, some of the, 3-point takedown reaction time situations. But regardless of some of those situational wrestling things, okay, now it's all right. Maybe we go 26-5, or, I think they both wrestle through the position, even if Drake gets a takedown or if Jax gets a takedown. I think it's not determined by one specific instance. And I think later in the duel, you're going to see some other things where, like, the duel was, or the match was decided by one situation, which is more than likely what we're going to be talking about when it comes to reaction time and all of those things. So,
yeah, the comment that I don't think you were on with us Thursday, GT, but a friend of mine said that he thinks the elite teams are being coached to wrestle through scrambles, and he thinks Iowa is trying to stalemate scrambles, and it felt like that in the cradle that Jax got on that scramble. Like, he just keeps looking for stuff. The other thing is, I think this speaks volumes for how good Aaron Seidel is. Like, I understand the transitive property doesn't work, that if I beat this guy by 1 and I beat this guy by 15, doesn't mean the 15 guy can't beat the 1 guy, but the 1 guy got 3 takedowns. So I think Seidel is pretty freaking good. But when we talk next week or even Thursday about the seeding for nationals, it's going to be really interesting. So
I don't know if you guys saw this, David, but Flo did an interview with Jax after the meet, and it was, if you haven't heard it, you need to go and listen to it, because he talks about, his transition into college, why he did it, along the way, when he knew he was going to wrestle, when he wanted to wrestle, when he knew he wanted to wrestle, because at a time he was just going to go to Oklahoma State and just train this year. And when he made his decision, but he talked also about wrestling. They talked about Bird and Davino and some of the other guys he's going to have to wrestle, Blaze, and that are very good on their feet and stay in really good position. He goes, I don't have to take them down. I can score from the bottom. I can score when I'm on top. If I take them down, that's great. That's just another advantage, basically. But I'm also really strong on top and underneath. I can score a lot of points. So that's his mind frame.
I think it's a very interesting analogy, but Jax and Blaze, and it hasn't happened yet, but reminds me of David Taylor against Dake. Like one guy's really flashy, kills everybody. This other guy just wins, but doesn't beat the guys by as much. You know, like Blaze beat Ayala, 4-2, something like that. It was a really fun takedown kind of match. So if you watch this by the transitive property, Jax should kill Blaze. I don't think anybody thinks Jax is going to kill Blaze, but of course, I don't think anybody thought Jax was going to kill Ayala. So maybe he will, but it's just going to be that could be I could see those guys being rivals for years, especially at 141, because I think they both end up going up. Speaking of 41, Vega, Peterson, we're going to break this match down tomorrow. I love watching Vega pin people. Like all the other stuff would scare me if I was like, he's almost done shooting. He knows he's winning every match 1-0. This was another one of those. Peterson got in 3 or 4 times, couldn't finish. You'd have to solve the riddle with that kid of getting his feet up off the mat and getting both feet to one side of your body where you can finish. But he ultimately cradles him off a counter. Mark, I'll start with you. Is Nasir Bailey done? And then what do you think about the match?
I have no idea if Nasir Bailey's done. Iowa keeps everything in house. They always have. So only Nasir knows, and Tom, and probably the other guy at 130 or 141 for Iowa knows. That's probably the only people that actually know for sure. I'm sure the guys on the team aren't even sure. So, but your second point, I always am curious about guys that don't score a lot of points and win right, at the end, doing things off somebody else's shots. Doesn't pan out at nationals very well sometimes, but he's proven it all year long, David, that he can win that way. And he's done it over and over again. So give him credit. He's really good on top. He's really good in scrambles. And that's what college wrestling's kind of turning into. You got to be able to scramble to beat guys because these guys are so athletic.
Yeah. What do you think, GT?
So I think there was some commentary during the match that like Vega hasn't given up a takedown all season or something along those lines. Yeah. I don't know if that's factually correct or not, but like I think the one thing about Vega's game is that he is so hard to score on. And that he is so devastatingly talented on top. I think to Mark's point where you get a little bit nervous about guys that win 1-0 or that they're the kind of grinder type athletes. I always get a little bit nervous with those type of athletes as well, because one well-timed shot and you don't have your defense exactly where you maybe need it and being able to just scramble out of it. That's all it's going to take to beat Vega is one solid. Now, once again, that's maybe like simplifying something that's very complicated events against a very, very good wrestler. But like, I don't know how else you combat how good his like body cradle and cradle defense is. And I mean, a lot of kudos to Cale Peterson for kind of attempting to like just, hey, I'm gonna come after you. And I think that
a lot of shots, yeah.
He was in on some really, really deep shots and just almost got a couple of them. But then he wound up in one position that was unfavorable, and then that was it. So it's difficult to see that kind of go that way, but kudos to Vega for putting him there.
Echemendia, I think, came the closest. Well, Nasir Bailey actually came the closest to beating him and didn't finish the single leg, which is sort of absurd. But Echemendia came really close. I think that's the way to beat him is what Echemendia did. Pick neutral, let the other guy pick down, take 8 half shots, and get the 2 stall. And then if you do that again, you're going to get a 3rd stall call. And then if it goes to the 2 minutes and you don't get it, and then it's the 30 seconds, like he's going to pick down, you have to pick neutral, and you just have to you have to ride him for 1 second and you pick and get another stall call and you win on the riding time. I think I'm crazy here. Where I think Vega would have problems is if he does get behind, because he doesn't shoot that much. Like we saw Jax get behind, and it's like he's just going to keep coming. Like Davino, I think if he gets behind, is going to go get it. Like if Jesse Mendez got taken down, he's going to keep coming. There's certain guys that have. If Mitchell Messenbrink lost the first takedown, okay, I think he lost the first takedown at the Big Tens in a match against Manthonona or something last year. And he just came back and teched him. Like some of these guys just are high volume offense. That weight's going to be interesting because there's a pretty good chance that the winner of the Big 12 is the number 2 seed or Stanage. And
here's the funny part, David, when you're done. Here's the funny part of this whole conversation. Both of the first two kids, the 2 kids that we're talking about right now, are true freshmen.
One's a senior.
Trying to evaluate how you beat these guys and they're freshmen.
Yeah. No, it's
nuts.
Yeah.
They're that good. And you're wondering, well, how do you beat this guy? Well, if he doesn't shoot and, when was the last time we saw so many freshmen come into a collegiate season, and not just Oklahoma State guys, but Penn State, Ohio State? I mean, they're dominating the sport of wrestling right now. It's just unreal.
But they're getting developed quicker. That's a whole different conversation, but yeah. All right, we'll skip 49. We talked about it. 57. Rabideau beat Jordan Williams, 1 takedown to none. He's just I don't think Jordan Williams has been what we thought he was going to be. Kind of thought they would be better with Nasir Bailey at 33 and Jordan Williams at 49. I don't know how emotional it was for Jordan Williams to go back to Oklahoma State where he'd been on the team and he's from Oklahoma. I don't know that there's a lot to unpack here. Do you guys have anything you want to add? Otherwise, I really want to go to 65 and 84. 65, 74, 84. Okay, 65. Huge shout out to Ladarian Lockett and David Taylor for wrestling this match. I didn't think they would, and I didn't think they should. And they didn't have to where the duel was. It was like 19-5 or something at the break, or 14-5 at the break. But Ryder Block had won, and then they'd won all the other ones. Spratley got 3, Jax got 5. That's and 3-5. Yeah, it was 14-5. 17-5. 17-5 at the break. They didn't need to wrestle him. And Lockett's probably the 4 seed at Nationals now. Probably puts him on the same side as Messenbrink. Caliendo gets a takedown early. And Ladarian was very similar to Dean Peterson. Didn't have as much urgency. I mean, he got out right away. Didn't have that riding time problem. But Mark and I both picked Caliendo GT. I don't know if you picked Lockett or not, but we just thought the guy that loses, I don't want to speak for Mark, but the guy that loses tends to spend more time making adjustments. And I think part of it was go get him early, and make him chase you. And he went and got one and finished one. And that was pretty much it. Mark, you picked Caliendo. Did you see the match going like this? Where I know you picked him, so you're not surprised. And how surprised are you they wrestled Lockett?
I'm still shocked that they wrestled Lockett, because if they hadn't wrestled Lockett, they're still winning the duel.
Right.
Lockett would have been pretty much guaranteed the number 2 seed or 3 seed. I think 2, because he'd have been undefeated going into the national tournament, where somebody from the Big Ten is going to lose in the finals. So nobody would have been undefeated except for the champ. Messenbrink more than likely, but you don't want to be on top. I mean, you want to wrestle in the national finals. Messenbrink's not the guy you want to go with unless David Taylor sees something that he has a way to beat Messenbrink. And I mean, of the 4 guys, the best 4 guys, or the best 3 guys excluding Messenbrink, I would say Lockett probably has maybe the best chance of knocking off Messenbrink, just because he's so athletic, he's so quick, he can score. I don't know. I'm still shocked. Grant, what do you think?
Well, I think here's the thing about probably this weight class that is going to be interesting to play out at the Big Ten Conference Championships is, Caliendo, Blaze, Messenbrink, Arujau, Scholes, all in the top 8. So there could be some madness that ensues that kind of moves that stuff around a little bit. And, like basically Ladarian Lockett and Ryder Downey are going to battle it out for probably the Big 12 title. So once again, and that was a pretty close match too. If you guys remember Ryder Downey versus Lockett.
Yeah. That's an understatement. He was winning. Yeah.
But I think the one thing that could happen at this weight class that I think is that you could see Ladarian even go up to the 3 if that some weird stuff happens between the top of the Big Tens.
The most realistic thing is Caliendo needs to beat Blaze in the semis.
Yeah. So that could basically move Lockett to 3 and Blaze to 4 potentially.
That's right.
And once again, I called David over the weekend and I was like, I called him a nerd again. How all this stuff plays out when it comes to like seeding and national seeds versus conference seeds and how this all will shake out, because there was just a whole bunch of stuff that happened at the Iowa high school state tournament. The seeding criteria is different than all of the other tournaments throughout the entire year. So anyways, basically just wanted to make sure that I called you guys nerds again. But I think that if you solidified that win again against Caliendo, and then Caliendo has a great Big Ten tournament, then you're not only like solidifying your number 2 spot, because I don't know if he would have had the 2 no matter what, if that makes sense.
I as the nerd, as one of the chief nerds on this podcast, if he wins outright, if he goes undefeated on that schedule, beats Caliendo, wins the Big 12, he's the 2 seed.
Okay.
He's the 2 seed.
Now, if Messenbrink goes down.
Oh, okay. Yeah. If Armageddon happens, then he's the 1 seed.
Then he goes all the way to the 1.
Would be him or Joey Blaze. If Joey Blaze beat Caliendo and then Joey Blaze and beat Messenbrink, that would have been Armageddon, because Joey Blaze would be the 1 and Lockett would be the 2 and Messenbrink would be the 3, and then somehow you're on the bottom of the bracket. Here's what I think David Taylor did, and I respect it. I think he's like, we don't duck. We're the problem. You're like, we're the bad draw. We beat him. We're going to beat him again. And I think he's like, Ladarian, I don't need you to duck because you're the guy. And you, Mark, Grant, you're still coaching actively. The psychology of that is very strong, right? Like, we believe in you. We don't care. We don't think you got lucky the first time. I mean, I think that's at least one way to interpret it.
Yeah.
So,
no, I don't mind it. I would have thought probably less if he would have like just sat out and he's not hurt. Like, I think and once again, I'll get off my little soapbox about it, but like, dude, you got to wrestle. Like
yeah, we're hypocrites. We're hypocrites right now because we always want everybody to wrestle, and then we're like, he shouldn't have wrestled. But we're also coaches, and you're like, Messenbrink's pound for pound, 1 or 2 with Mendez. So you want to avoid that. Anyway, I will say this, I'm very good friends with Jasper. I'll see him this weekend at the state tournament, and I'm going to shake his hand, and Ladarian's will be there. I'm like, I just respect the fact you guys wrestled. I think it's awesome. Nobody ducked. And also the NDI is creating a lot more repeat matches than you would have seen, that was one of the few matches that were repeats from the first duel. I mean, I like 33 wasn't a repeat, 41 wasn't, 49 wasn't, 57 wasn't, 84 wasn't, 97 wasn't, heavyweight wasn't. There's only 3 repeats. So it was 25, 57, or 25, 65, 74. Speaking of 74, PK gets it done. Really, really clean first takedown. Facundo gets a leg in the air. PK dive rolls. It looks all the world like Facundo's going to not win the scramble and then be leading, and Kenny would have to get out. And PK high heads him and wins the scramble, ends up winning 2 takedowns to none. I I'm going to sound crazy. I was actually more encouraged by Facundo in this match than I have been in other matches because he showed he could at least get to a leg. Rock correctly called that when Facundo gets his hands locked, he gets big back, pops his head out. If Rock knows that, Iowa needs to know that. You got to stuff the head. You got to cover the head. You got to double knee block. You got to chest wrap something. But Facundo showing he can get under a guy who's got really powerful hips, lower stance, and at least get him a chance to win is encouraging. Kennedy needs that match to stay where he is in the rankings and seedings because, again, I think 74 is a match where you want to be – Simon Ruiz is undefeated but hasn't beaten a ton of great guys. I think you want to be away from Levi Haynes. GT, thoughts?
I think we've all kind of known like PK and like what he's capable of doing. And then like just kind of he's going to be him no matter what. I don't think anything had to do anything with Facundo. And I thought Facundo wrestled pretty good match. So to the point of like Simon Ruiz, forgive me, I forgot what place he got last year. As a freshman, by the way.
I'll look it up. Keep going.
Well, basically, I think Simon Ruiz, regardless of if he was in the Ivy League or not, like, the guy's a dog. So I think just because he's kind of in that situation where he might not have wrestled a ton of those guys, I think he's still in a pretty dang good spot. And he just beat Matthew Singleton in the duel on, I think it was on Friday. So that's not a nobody either. That guy's really freaking stinking tough, and he's ranked number 6 in the nation. So I think great performance by the two guys in the duel on Sunday between basically Facundo and Kennedy. Kennedy's he is just a junkyard dog. He's going to be in a match no matter what, and it's going to look kind of crazy from time to time, but I love how he wrestles, and he's represented himself extremely well and made himself the man at that weight class for Iowa. So huge props to him.
Ruiz was 5th last year, to point out as a freshman. He's got an interesting wrestle stat this year because he hasn't wrestled he's beaten Facundo, Sima, Singleton. Like that's it in the top 10, top 15. So he hasn't wrestled Levi, he hasn't wrestled Kennedy, Minto, Kartsla, Mantanona, Schubert, Steed, Wasp, Gaitan, or Augustine. Where a lot of these guys in the Big Tens are hitting each other. So, Mark, I think you and I both have a big affinity for Patrick Kennedy, his loyalty to that program, how he carries himself, how he wrestles. Thoughts on the match?
Yeah, I thought it was a typical match for him, minus the scrambling ability that I did not know he had. Yeah, because he's not the most flexible guy in the world. But he just finds ways to win. He's tired at the end, but you're not gonna feel that. He's gonna keep pressure on you the whole time and keep coming at you over and over again. Sometimes it gets him in trouble. Sometimes it saves him. But he wrestled, actually, except for the scramble, I thought he pretty much controlled the match pretty well. The scramble was a little, dangerous at times, but he was able to score and put the match away. So, I don't know what else to say. He's just a dog. He will come at you, and that's kind of why everybody likes him. He's like DeSanto almost. You know what I mean? When DeSanto was wrestling, he just kept coming at you. Doesn't give you a chance to breathe. Doesn't give you a chance to do certain things. So, yeah, it's fun to watch.
Yeah, and Thursday we'll talk about it, but the coaches' rankings are out and the RPI are out, so that'll be important to discuss. Okay, 184. Okay, so Mark, sometimes GT Mark, like I can't tell if he's serious or not. Like I'm texting him about the 84 match, and he's like, well, heaven forbid Gabe ever gets hit for stalling. I'm like, it was a terrible call. Like whatever this kid's done before this, like this is a terrible call. and then the reaction time one where Tom threw the brick and they lost. So, Mark, I'm going to start with you. Did you watch the match? You never responded. Do you agree that it was a bad call?
Yes. It was two. It was two.
Three.
Or it was three.
Why are you saying?
You know what, David? I'm old. I'm used to two. It was a takedown. Let me just say that it was a takedown.
And then what about
how you look? I don't care how you look at it. Both hands were on the mat. His weight was going forward. He had to come back off his hands to get out of that position, which means there's your reaction time. If that's the case, then Gabe got shafted against Ohio State because it's the same thing. They didn't give Gabe time to react, and they gave two to.
You lost both sides of it.
Yeah,
like one of
I
them,
think it was a takedown for Ohio State, and I really think it was a takedown for Iowa at this duel.
And the stall call that decided the match.
Yeah.
You thought, I'm asking because you never responded. I'm like,
I don't know. I don't like that he didn't try to circle back in real quick. Just kind of let him push him out of bounds, and he took another step back when he got pushed a little bit. All you got to do is try to circle back in, and that stall call probably doesn't happen.
okay.
So I don't disagree with the stall call as much as I do that it was his match. It was a takedown. And we have a problem with the same thing, at least at nationals, that if you object and throw the brick, it's not going to be the guy that made the call and said, no, it wasn't a takedown. It's going to be somebody else that looks at it and makes the call, which is what it should be anyway.
Yeah. What's very interesting about that is if it's Mike Haggerty, what's his definition of reaction time? If I was a college coach, I'd be calling them right now. I'd be calling those guys right now and saying, what's your definition of reaction time? I think you're entitled to that information because it's literally going to decide a match or a brick. And if the guy's like, I think you get a second and a half. Okay. Whether you agree with that or not, if that's what they say and that's how they're going to call it, and your guy puts the guy down for a flash takedown and he pops right back up, not to throw the brick because at nationals, you get X amount of bricks for the tournament. And it's based on your number of qualifiers.
Yeah.
So, you see guys in the finals throw them because that's it. That's their last guy or something. But I think it's really important to see that GT. So, I mean, first up, we got lost in the wash as Zach Ryder's back. Okay. So, I mean, there's another one like GT. We're talking about picking matches. Like, I think we all picked Iowa because we thought Trevor Downs was wrestling, so, and then there's no Ferrari. So, I mean, now we'll get to that in a second, but your thoughts on the match?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing that I had issue with is like the still frame shot from Arnold's takedown on the edge. Once again, kind of seeing that and you're like, how is that not called? Or I don't know. Probably the one that I felt the most, confused about was the stall call on the edge to determine the match. Because he had basically defending like a low single on the edge of the mat. He's basically gets out of the position and they're both basically out of bounds at that point in time. So to Mark's point, yeah, maybe like you attempt to maybe circle right after you get your foot out. But I mean, like those boys are like, they were not stalling. It's just basically, I'll put it that way. Like it's not enough to be a match ender in my opinion. Yeah. But once again, I think letter of the law is like, you got to circle back in. Okay, whatever. That's a tough call to make as an official. I don't necessarily think that every single official would call it that way, but once again, if it's determined that that's how he's been calling it the entire duel, okay, like at least he's maybe consistent in his call on the edge with backing out and all these other things. So got to play that a little bit as it's an entirety. It's not necessarily a huge snapshot of just that position, but the snapshot of the takedown on the edge of the mat, that's hard to refute. Like that's, like even if you are a really good coach right now at the Division I level or any of the levels at college, there's maybe a lot of confusion on what constitutes a takedown, and getting clarity heading into the conference tournament and the postseason needs to happen for all coaching staffs. And that's a good way to engage with officials at a very, very tone and very pointed conversations, not to like get mad about things, but it's like, hey, if it was called like this and then it was called like this, and you can use Gabe Arnold for the entire slideshow if you'd like.
That's a fantastic point, the way to do it. Go ahead, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. But I mean, like,
yeah,
Gabe Arnold's been in how many situations this season? Yeah. Either in overtime or one takedown things where it's like kind of there, maybe not there, whatever. The entire slideshow for the entire season could be Gabe Arnold matches. So,
yeah. Listen, they've changed wrestling dramatically. To Mark's unintentional errors, takedowns used to be worth 2 points. They no longer are. Okay, that's a major change. Okay, neutral danger was never a thing. After Heil, now it's a thing. Okay, you can't ride the leg, and there's some dumb stuff like that. Like if you have a bent leg Turk and don't use it in 5 seconds, you're getting called for stalling. Which is not really. It's the letter of the law. I think these referees are in a position where they don't want to make any quote judgment calls. They only want to call what's in the book. But here's what I think. If you can count to 3 for near fall, or 2 for near fall, 3 for near fall, 4 for near fall, 3 for neutral danger, 5 for a leg, you can count 1 on a flash takedown. Like in jiu-jitsu, it's 3 seconds. Okay, you have to take the guy down and stay on top of him for 3 seconds. Now, the Brazilians don't count, but there's a count. Okay, now there's no challenges there, but you at least know if it's 3 seconds or not. And you can say, well, this guy counts 1, 2, 3, and this guy goes 1, 2, 3. But there's a rule. Okay, there's a rule. I think if you said it's 1 second and the person counts, you could then have a protestable, challengeable thing. Mark, you and I talk about the rules more than GT and I do, but the person hits his hands, okay, and the guy waits a half a second to start his count, and he only gets halfway through the count or 3/4 of the way through the count. And you know how that goes, 3/4, you're here. If you're watching this, my hands, and then the guy picks his hands up and you do this, and then you go, no takedown. But you can challenge it because you can go back and go, hey, you just didn't start the count as soon as his hands hit. And when his hands hit, he was in criteria for a takedown. I feel like 1 swipe would fix almost everything.
Yeah. Here's my big issue is that they're going and watching the video after they made the call, and they see what everybody else sees, and everybody else sees, yeah, that was a takedown, just like Gabe's match against Oklahoma State, where the guy actually had the takedown. They gave Gabe the 2.
Ohio State.
They gave Gabe the 3. And then they went back and reviewed it and said, you know what? He did have the takedown. The match went to Ohio State. Now, why this guy goes back, the official goes back and watches this and doesn't see that it's 2 or 3, is just I don't understand it. He's getting a chance to re-see it.
Because
are we missing something?
It's his definition of reaction time. That's the problem. Okay, I'm with you. Okay, but Mark,
you are lose it.
What?
I told you I was going to lose it today.
Right? Yeah, you lost it. Takedowns are worth 2 now.
So in order to put some of this, when it comes to reaction time, how do we fix it? All these other things that you guys are discussing. And once again, if it's uniform or if it's subjective to each official, I think is what kind of you guys are getting to, is that okay, it can be monetized. You can see the clock, it's at 1 second, or hey, takedown, and it's a back point motion, where it's okay, takedown 1.
It's a swipe.
It's a swipe. Yeah. Now, once again, I think this is where that was why I was kind of jumping the gun to get in there, is that like, okay, then when does control happen? And then when does he start swiping? Because it's all going to be determined on when did you get the takedown, which is still the problem.
So I agree with you, but there's some things that are criteria, right? Like quad pod from neutral is criteria. Okay. If a knee hits, okay, that's criteria. But like if you hit a knee and then bounce immediately up and hand fighting, like, okay, that wasn't a second. I don't care what it is. I mean, this all came from that rule where there was no reaction time and Max Dean hit a Granby roll and they gave the guy from Ryder a takedown. And they're like, well, that can't happen. And it's like, well, maybe it can happen. Maybe you just know you can't hit a standing Granby in neutral. Like, maybe you just know you can't do that. And the guy's so good that was the only way you could get out. And so he deserved the takedown. But these are deciding kids' goals. They're deciding kids' future earnings. Like I always think of Taylor Lujan, the year he probably would have won nationals, and he could never say he was a national champion. And you know how much you charge for clinics, your ability to get a coaching job, all these things down the line, these coaches' bonuses, all this stuff. Like I think most of wrestling changes are for the good. I remember I talked to Gary Abbott years ago. I think Valencia was wrestling Isaiah Martinez, and the match was like 16-16, and nobody knew who was winning. And I'm like, you guys just need to hold up a paddle. You need to have something up at a paddle that says red or blue is leading in the tie. Well, they did the dot, or they circled the number of the guy that was winning either way, or the woman that was winning. Doesn't matter, the wrestler that was winning. But they fixed it. Okay, and paddle would have worked just as good, but whatever. It's better when it's on the computer because the computer can just tell you who's winning if you set the algorithm that way. I don't think it's that hard to just go, it's one count. Now, some people count faster than others, but that's going to be close. And if there's some takedowns, like you're saying, GT, that are not exactly criteria, right? Like if you get the leg in the air and you trip and you come behind and you grab my second leg and my weight's on my hands and then I pop right back up, that's not a takedown if it's a one count. If it's like touch and back up, that's reaction time. If we say it's a full count, a full second, that's the problem. People are like, well, no, that is a takedown. And in somebody else's eyes, it is. That's why you have to have a criteria. Like when my sophomore year, freshman year in high school, it was 2 near fall for one swipe. You got 2 back points for 1 swipe. You could just cheap till the guy, suck him back. You can almost let them roll through as long as they're in the criteria and get it. And I scored a bunch of points that way because it wasn't that hard to do. You know, once it was 2, you're like, okay, I got to actually tighten up and get a hold of this thing. People will wrestle to the rules. Coaches will coach to the rules. But there's no rule here right now. You know, Mark sent me a text and said, I'm going to lose it on the show. I didn't know what he meant. Now I get it. But like, there needs to be a criteria. I mean, when they just say it's reaction time, that's not a criteria. Like that's not like we all know now, near fall, 2 for 2, 3 for 3, 4 for 4. Like this one is kind of like the one where Grant hits a stand up and I'm behind him. Like the rule is, do I have to attempt to bring him to the mat? So if I step out to the side and fake like I'm lifting, like now, like they should just say, if you don't return him in 15 seconds, it's stalling. They should just, I mean, it should be easier. The other thing is this, in the Gabe Arnold match, the first stalling was against him because he prevented, they said he was stalling for preventing Zack Ryder from returning him to the mat by holding his hands together. So, I mean, the whole match felt super sketchy. By the way, Willie posted this, and so I'm going to take it as right. Iowa will not have an allocation at 184, 197, or heavyweight. They have not hit the criteria at the Big Tens. So what's interesting, and the RPI will come out, and the allocations will come out. But what that means is, if Ferrari wrestles and if Keita wrestles, they have to steal spots. I mean, Mark, you're the Iowa historian. When's the last time Iowa only had 7 allocations?
Boy, it's been a while. I don't know. They usually have at least 9. If
I mean,
not all 10.
you don't care anymore now in that orange shirt, right? You're
Not
done.
as much as I did earlier.
Okay.
But, I'm wearing this for Gabe to try to get him fired up.
I don't know. Gabe's season might be done.
I don't think so.
You think they're going to sit Ferrari, or you think he's going to go 97?
I think, he'll go 97.
Okay.
He's got a shot at qualifying for nationals at 97. It's not the deepest weight in the country. It's definitely not the deepest weight in the Big Ten. You've got 2 pretty decent 97-pounders, and the second one was an All-American last year, but 7th or 8th. I mean, McDaniel from Nebraska is probably the second best 97-pounder in the Big Ten.
He's the number 2 guy from the Big Ten. You have one elite guy. Okay.
Yep.
And then
why wouldn't you not wrestle Gabe against that field?
Yeah, it's interesting.
I don't know. They may only qualify 5 guys from that weight, because it's not a very good weight in the Big Ten.
Well, they're ranked
13.
Okay. The Big Ten's guys got ranked at 97. 1, this is Flo's rankings. I'm just looking fast. 13, 1, 13, 14, 15, 17, 21, 22, 23, 25, 27, 29. So they got a bunch of guys in the 20s. And if those guys all get spots, I think Gabe Arnold can beat the 24th or 26th or whatever it is guy, and that's what he needs to do to steal a spot. We'll talk about it more. GT, congrats to Grandview. I think you guys lost maybe 1 or 2 matches the whole weekend, so congrats on getting everybody through. Congrats to Henderson and Reedy. I think Nick Mitchell put maybe the best post out. He said Paul Reedy is the assistant coach of the year every year, whether or not he gets the award or not. I know how you guys feel about him, so shout out to him and the work he does behind the scenes. But congratulations to all you guys for the first step in the process.
That's cool.
So no wrestling this weekend in college. Mark and I will be back Thursday to talk about allocations, RPI, potential seating stuff. And then I'll be at the Oklahoma State tournament this weekend. Excited to do that. I think I'm doing the finals with Joe Smith, which I think is going to be really fun. He did Hall of Fame duels with me. Hardell is now part of the Edmond North coaching staff. His son is a freshman there. So if you want to get what the definition of a Tulsa ride is, which I didn't know till last year, and some other, Joe's got a lot of great stories and great young man. GT smiling, he knows him. Great young man, really good coach. His kids club won Kid State, so congratulations. Congrats to all the kids that won, boys, girls, who have won state here the last couple weeks. And if you placed and that was your goal, whatever it is, if just you've used wrestling to make yourself better in life, congratulations to all the young men and women that are doing that. For Smiling Grant and Angry Mark, I'm David. Go ahead.
Drayshawn Ross.
Yeah.
Congratulations on being a 4-time state champ in Iowa, probably the 34th, I think.
34.
Blake Fox got his too.
Yeah, he got 33 because he wrestled a little earlier.
Yep.
Can you tell me what you think Drayshawn could look like in the next 2 years, working out with Hendrickson from Oklahoma State, day in and day out? Is that a scary thought?
I think Drayshawn Ross is going to be incredibly special or get bit by the injury bug. I think he's going to be like unbelievably good.
Grant?
He's scary now, man. Like, yeah. I mean, he's scary in just how he is normally. But I think the one thing about college wrestling is that everybody has a transition to it, whether it's one day, 1 week. Some people take a couple of years to figure it out. I think Drayshawn has the tools at heavyweight to be very impactful very early. I think he's a scarier version of Kirk Fleet coming out of high school would be my comparable to him. I think that he's got that long length, great frame, and just when you stand next to him, if you haven't stood next to him, he's just a monster. So, but the room down there for them, being able to work with, Wyatt and Doucette and some of the other guys that they have there, wrestling with Merrill and, just some other guys it's going to be really good for him. Wrestling Plot. They have a great
they'll fly guys in or travel. I mean, he's going to start next year. They don't have another heavyweight, so he's going to start. And that heavyweight recruiting class with him, with Sahakian, with Samson Stillwell, with Kobe Merrill, with Mako, like all those guys kind of spread out, and that next class is going to come through and be really freaking good. So, Mark, I will compound that. Congrats to Bobby Thompson on an unbelievable career. Danny Knight, he coached Bobby Thompson and Danny Knight, both retired from high school wrestling, and both had their last guy win a match. Pretty impressive. So Leakin Jip scored 14 points in the last 28 seconds to get a tech, which was pretty amazing. And Drayshawn got 7 takedowns in the first period to get a 21-6 tech. So anyway, congrats to everybody, though. They won states. I don't want to have that argument. Missouri is this weekend. Oklahoma is this weekend. National preps were last weekend. Congrats to all them. Very cool time of the year. Del Barton won New Jersey team states. Congrats to them. Apologize to anybody we missed. Text me and we'll give you a shout out on Thursday. Thank you guys for watching and listening. See you soon.